I did see some Rockets fans really upset with this list because Jalen Green was ranked 80.
That's not bad.
But if you look at all the players in his draft class that went in the top 4, they're way above him.
Are they more upset that he's 80 or Cade was what, 39th, I believe?
Cade was 39. Yeah, Cade was ranked above Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes and Jalen Green.
About damn time, dude. Dude, that is so crazy how basketball bloggers and fans and other content creators are now talking about Cade Cunningham just because of the whole Team USA Select thing. That was so good for his game to have those clips. And then the Rico Hines. I don't know if Rico Hines had the same impact that Team USA Select had, but those Team USA Select highlights, they really showcased his abilities and really put him on the forefront of basketball conversation. And I'm glad 39th is huge because he only played 12 games last year. We're talking, 72 or 84 games, something like that for his entire career so far. Games played, like he pretty much has only played one full season of basketball in the NBA, and he's already ranked 39th. I'm not arguing with it. I think it's a great number. I would have, me, I would have put him ahead, all three of those guys, no matter what, if I was coming up with a list, because I think he is actually better than him. But it's just nice to know that the rest of the basketball world is waking up to his abilities on the floor.
Yeah, I think to your point, it's a mixture of both. I think when those USA Select Team highlights did come out, Cade looked like the floor general that we know he is, Detroiters and Pistons fans. We know that he's that guy. And we don't really get the national coverage that some of the other players in, that USA Select Team gets, like Austin Reeves, for example. He's a Laker. He gets like half of his games televised nationally because he's in LA. But I like the fact that Cade was 39. It shows you that even though Bleacher Report, sometimes we were talking about their list last week, they can be really bad. I think even they're like, you know what, if this guy is healthy, on the cusp, he's a top 25 player in the league. And you can't really say that about a Scotty Barnes, even though he did win Rookie of the Year and he's a great defensive player, don't get me wrong. Offensively, it's not there yet. Evan Mobley can be a defensive anchor if Jared Allen is out there supporting him, but we really don't know what his ceiling is right now if Jared Allen isn't on that basketball team. I think Jalen Green, one of the best scorers I've seen, evaluating coming out of the draft. I think he has all the tools to be a 30-point per game scorer. But if he's not scoring, what else is he doing for you on the floor? I think Cade Cunningham is the most complete player out of his draft class, and I think that ranking of 39th from Bleacher Report of the top 100 players for going into this season, I love it. I think he's getting the respect he finally deserves, like you were saying.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Cade, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, and Scotty Barnes, they all have holes in their game right now. But Cade, you can call it Pistons bias, whatever. I don't care. He has the most complete game out of all four of those guys. There's no doubt in my mind. He looks like a two-way player. He can hurt you from the mid-range. He can attack the basket. The three-point shot's coming back. He's a playmaker for others. He may not be like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, but it wouldn't surprise me if he is on an all-defensive team at some point. I forget what account, and it was a couple weeks ago, but they were highlighting his defense and how he's a smart, cerebral player, can stay in front of his guys. He may not rack up the assists or the blocks, the steals or the blocks, but he knows how to stay in front of his guy, and he knows how to make it difficult for his opponent. And Jalen Green, I feel like right now, and maybe it's too early to tell, but it feels like he's just going to be more of an offensive nightmare for people. Like, he'll probably have the most 50-point games out of anybody out of that draft class. Maybe not really, but like it kind of feels like he could have multiple 50-point games just because of how explosive he is going towards the rim and just how complete of an offensive player he is. Evan Mobley, he's really not the two-way player that some Cavaliers fans want him to be. He can't carry it carry a team offensively. Just right now, he can't. Defensively, he's good. I mean, I think he was an all defensive team member last year. I feel like that was a little too early because he was only in his second year, and I felt like the defense was so bad without Jared Allen that it was kind of premature to give him that honor already. And then Scotty Barnes, I mean, I love Scotty Barnes. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not even going to say anything bad about Scotty Barnes. I just love his game and what he brings to a team. The only knock on his game is right now he doesn't really look like a franchise player. He's like Cade light to a degree. He can do everything Cade can do, probably a better defender. He just doesn't have the offensive bag where you're like, he can go out and get us a bucket, but he can't go out and get us a bucket, but Cade can. I think that's the biggest difference between those two players. But yeah, that's my analysis of all four of those guys right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think Scotty Barnes and Cade to me are the two most complete players, like in the top four. I think if Scotty Barnes develops a jump shot, he could be on par with Cade. But like I said, he's still in that process of developing his game. But there was another Piston on this list. And that was Bojan, and he was actually tied with Dillon Brooks at 94.
That's how I thought he was 89. They were the only two Pistons, right? Bojan and Cade.
I do want to say they did give an honorable mention to Jaden Ivey in their article, which I respected, saying like, hey, like he's a good player. We just don't feel like he's a top 100 player. The fact that he was an honorable mention, I think, got my respect. I was like, they're saying like, he can get to become a top 100 player. But getting back to the Bojan and Dillon Brooks thing, someone had just posted, Bojan was averaging 22 points, almost shot 50, 40, 90 for the year.
Yeah.
And like the starting lineup sometimes had Corey Joseph in it. Like the second best player he played with was Jaden Ivey. And that's no slight of Jaden Ivey. Like that team was so injury riddled last year that the fact that Bojan in his 30s is putting up 22 points a game on like elite efficiency. To me, I thought he deserved to be a little bit, maybe 80s, low 70s. He just had such a phenomenal season.
Yeah, I don't have the list in front of me, and I cannot pull it up right now just because I'm on one computer versus two, and I'm in a basement right now doing the podcast. So I'm away from my actual, I call it studio at my house. So I'm not going to be able to look up. Yeah. Who are the four players ahead of him in the 90s? Who's like 90, 91, 92, and 93?
Give me a second. I got to go on Bleacher Report because sometimes I have OCD really bad and I got to delete everything. But let me see the top 100 players. Here we go. So you wanted to know who was above Bojan?
Yeah, just 90, 91, 92, and 93. I just want to hear the names.
Okay, give me a second. I clicked on the wrong one. I apologize. My internet is like crap. If you guys are listening, never get WoW. It is the worst internet. Even though it's cheap, it is the worst internet to ever buy.
And Charter paid Anthony to say that. It's crazy.
I don't even think we have Charter out here.
Oh, for real? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you guys have for providers. I thought it was the same everywhere.
No, I've never even heard of Charter.
Or Spectrum, whatever.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Dillon Brooks. Bojan and Benedict Mathurin were tied for 94.
Ooh, that kind of changes the Jaden Ivey thing.
Okay.
Just
a little bit. Yeah. One was fifth, one was sixth. So the players that were above Bojan and Benedict Mathurin were, it looks like, Bleacher Report is on some bullshit today.
With those
John Collins.
Okay.
So John Collins was 93.
Ooh. Okay.
Keegan Murray was 92.
Okay, I thought he'd be up there for some reason. I thought Keegan Murray.
RJ Barrett was 91.
Mm.
And 90th was Devin Vassell.
See, I feel like Bojan, honestly, could be ranked ahead of all those guys. I don't think anybody would complain about it either because he had a phenomenal year shooting the ball. It's not to say those guys didn't, but John Collins he had a down year. I'm not saying he's not a top 100 player, but he had a down year last year. And I'm guessing the list was based on last season. So I kind of got a problem with that. And Keegan Murray, yeah, he had a great rookie year, but was his rookie year really better than Bojan's season? And I think you can just say statistically, you cannot account for team success into an individual player's list. And then, I mean, go on.
No, I mean, I think you're making valid points. It's just the only player that I would disagree with this list is I think Keegan Murray actually needs to be at the 90s because I think he had such a great year. Shooting 41% from three, that's an accomplishment. 45% from the field, that's a great accomplishment. I think Keegan Murray shouldn't be in the 90s, and I don't think Bojan should be in the 90s either. Obviously, you have to take the overall game, not just one side of the basketball. And we both know, even being hardcore Detroit Pistons fans, and this is a Pistons podcast, we can both agree he's not a lockdown defender by any means.
Oh no. I'd probably have a chance of scoring on him. Just kidding. Don't save that. No, I think, again, I'm not saying remove any of those players from the list. I'm just saying I think Bojan's his season last year, and again, the list is just based on last year. He should have been a little higher. I think he should have been above those guys listed above him. And because, I mean, he was, like you said earlier, he was doing it on his own. He had nobody. The roster, the guys were hurt. There was no Cade. The best player he played with was Jaden Ivey, then Jalen Duren. I mean, he was sharing the floor with the G Leaguers for a little while, and he was still getting it done. He had an incredible shooting year, being the number one guy on a team offensively. I think he should be a little bit higher. And again, I don't want to get into this too much, but if Benedict Mathurin made the list, Jaden Ivey should have been on that list as well. Because I think Jaden Ivey had overall a better rookie year than Benedict Mathurin. And I think a lot of people would agree. Benedict Mathurin had a hot start to the season, but there were no talks about him towards the end of the year. But there were talks about Jaden Ivey. So, I don't know. I think that's kind of a wash between those two. So, I think if Benedict Mathurin was on it, Jaden Ivey should have been on it as well.